We as a nation are entitled to insist that those who are allowed to come here predominantly reflect the historic European Christian composition of Australian society and embrace our language, culture and values as a people. In order for us to remain the nation that we are now, those who come here need to assimilate and integrate. Those who are most similar to the mainstream majority in terms of ethnic culture, language and values most readily do so. Historically, however, one immigrant group here and in other Western nations that has consistently shown itself to be the least able to assimilate and integrate is Muslims. The first terrorist act on Australian soil in 1915 was in 1915 when two Muslim immigrants opened fire on a picnic train of innocent women and children in Broken Hill, and Muslim immigrants have been a problem ever since. I believe that the reason for ending all further Muslim immigration are both compelling and self-evident. The record of Muslims who have already come to this country in terms of rates of crime, welfare dependency and terrorism are the worst of any migrant and vastly exceed any other immigrant group. The majority of Muslims in Australia of working age do not work and live on welfare. Muslims in New South Wales and in Victoria are 3 times more likely than other groups to be convicted of crimes. We have black African Muslim gangs terrorising Melbourne. We have ISIS-sympathising Muslims trying to go overseas to fight for ISIS. And while all Muslims are not terrorists, certainly all terrorists these days are Muslims. So why would anyone want to bring more of them here? The final solution to the immigration problem, of course, is a popular vote. Of course, we don't need a plebiscite to cut immigration numbers. We just need a government that is willing to institute sustainable population policy and end Australian job-stealing 457 visas and make student visas conditional on foreign students returning to the country they came from. What we do need a plebiscite for is to decide who comes here. Whitlam didn't ask the Australian people whether they wanted wholesale non-European immigration or migration. He introduced it, and neither has any subsequent government. Who we allow to come here will determine what sort of nation we will have in the future. So therefore, this isn't the right of any one government to decide. It's too important for that. Instead, we need a plebiscite to allow the Australian people to decide whether they want wholesale non-English speaking immigrants from the Third World, and particularly whether they want any Muslims, or whether they want to return to the predominantly European immigration policy of the pre-Whitlam consensus. I, for one, will be happy to abide by their decision.